This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
What's up, everybody? Ricky Widmer here, along with fellow man-child Johnny Karlic.
Wubba-lubba-dub-dub.
Does it feel nice to say that again?
It does.
Now that I'm not stealing
my lines?
Or should I be saying, winter is coming, everybody? You do better than I do.
Winter is coming. The war is here.
The war is here.
And you know nothing, Ricky Widmer.
And I can't wait. Game of Thrones, a week. We are now, as you guys are seeing this, under a week away from Game of Thrones episodes. And before we get into everything, I want to tell you guys, Johnny and I are going to be watching each episodes along with you, and we are going to be doing episode recaps after they are done. So make sure to check out the YouTube page the day after Game of Thrones episodes, and Johnny and I will be giving our thoughts to you guys after each and every week as we go through the final 2 seasons. But Johnny, we're going to be previewing season 7, and then also we're going to be talking today about Tony Stark and his future in the MCU.
Yep.
And then we're going to do a little fun topic of which superheroes need their own video games.
Oh,
because
yeah.
there are a few that I can think of that I would like to
have
see
their own
in
game.
video games, even though it may or may not happen. But let's get into Game of Thrones, because this is the big thing. The big topic coming into this week is we are, like I said, under a week away from episodes for season 7. And season 7, it's kind of feel like, oh, we're going to do a preview. Where do we start? Here's what I want to start with.
Okay.
I want to start with something that was said to Jon Snow. I want to say it was in season 6. And it was basically, it doesn't matter about the Iron Throne. It doesn't matter who's sitting in there, whose skeleton is sitting in that Iron Throne.
Yep.
That, to me, my biggest thing about this season, and maybe like this is going to be like, ooh, Ricky, it's such a hot take, but I feel like maybe as we get to the end of the season, into season 8, we are going to get ready for basically everyone to start realizing, because I think Jon Snow already realizes it, that it's like, you know what? All of us fighting over this one throne in this one place in King's Landing, that don't mean nothing if the White Walkers defeat us.
Exactly.
Nothing means anything if they rule everything, because if we don't stop them...
The Night King and his, 100,000 troops, I think they said?
There will just be more White Walkers to deal with.
It'll be all White Walkers at some point if they don't stop it.
That's the thing I'm bringing into season 7 is, when do we hit that turning point where some key pieces besides Jon Snow start to think, yeah, you know what? That throne's not important. Let's focus on these guys over here.
See, I think the big thing is Jon Snow knows about it, and
But he knows nothing. Remember that.
Obviously, Jon Snow knows nothing. No, I think he fully understands that that's the most important thing, because him and what's his name? Bravos. Yes, thank you. They're the ones that understand that, like, hey, this is the bigger war, not these 5 small groups going for the Iron Throne. That's the war.
Yeah.
This is just piddly shit that happens in the human world.
Well, because you got the Lannisters, you got Daenerys, you've got, I'm going to throw the Greyjoys in there because of Euron.
Yeah, it's somewhat in there.
Because Euron is, I don't know what other people think about him. I think he's an ass.
He seems like it.
I don't think that he killed his own brother.
I was about to say that. He
killed his own brother.
That kind of puts you in that range of being an ass.
Brother of the Year award, Euron Greyjoy. But there are, like you said, there are so many different people fighting, and we've had so many different people fighting for that throne. Right now, the person who is sitting on that throne, technically as we are starting, is the person that's kind of had her grubby little hands on it in some way throughout the entire series of Game of Thrones.
She had to have some,
and she doesn't want to let it go.
She had some sort of foothold in being on the throne in a sense. And Cersei is that one. She's gonna do whatever she can to keep it. She's using all the Lannister resources possible to keep it happening. Even though I think at one point they said they don't have a lot of money anymore. Am I right in the series? So she's just burning through those resources.
And it's because they keep bringing up I can't remember if it was season 5 or season 6, but it was when we were getting closer to season 7 that they said, yeah, you know what? we are taking out so many loans from
the
Iron Bank
Yeah.
that we can't keep taking out loans from the Iron Bank. Like
Yeah.
we're so far in debt that we just can't keep putting everything on a loan. So this season for me, Cersei, I kind of have a feeling, well, mainly because of what she's kind of the attitude they're going for. I think this is going to be the most I don't give a fuck and badass Cersei that we see.
Yeah.
Because we saw it at the end of season 6 where they're like, oh, she's going to come to her trial. No, she's not. And she puts on the entire black robe with like the silver chain that goes across from it. You look at the pictures from her Queen's Guard from the season 7 shots. They look badass in their black armor, and the mountains,
exactly.
The mountains got black armor with some like white logo.
The
center.
silver insignia on the middle of it.
She is going to be so badass to where I feel like in this season, you know how like the Twilight people went like team this and team that.
Yeah,
we're gonna like during this season. I bet you, me and you, while we do the recaps. We will at one point, there will be a reason for us to say, well, guys, you got to tell us, are you Team Daenerys or are you Team Cersei? Because that to me they're the two budding forces for the Iron Throne.
They're going to be the two biggest because, like we said, the third group.
And I know everyone just went, obviously, Ricky.
No way. I mean, we all know the third big group of that is Jon Snow, and he doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit about the Iron Throne.
No, he doesn't.
He knows what the real problem is, and that's to the north. And I feel like the rest of them may not understand to the full length that Jon does, but everyone in the north is behind him 100% as of now, as of what we saw season 6.
Well, the only thing, and not Bravos, it was Davos is what I was thinking of.
Bravos, Davos.
It's because I said Bravos, and I'm like, no, that's where the Iron Bank is. I'm like, no, that's where the faceless god is as well. That's where Arya finds the faceless god, or the god of many faces. I knew I had that, and I had to correct myself. It was Davos, not Bravos. But I feel like everyone in the north is on Jon's side. Yeah. Except for Sansa. I feel like there's a little sliver.
Sansa's the only one. And Littlefinger. But
There's a little sliver. Well, with Littlefinger, I don't think he's against Jon. I just think Littlefinger, he likes to play the advantage. Well, and in his mind, he is thinking, who can I control? I can control Sansa before I can control Jon. So if I turn her on him, get her to backstab him, get her ahead of the Queen of the North, I can control her more easily than I can control Jon.
Yeah, I just feel like Littlefinger's the type of guy who
He just likes to control people.
But he will get rid of who's in his way, too. And if Jon is in his way, if he sees Jon to be in his way, he'll find a way to get rid of him.
He killed Ned.
Exactly. He had Ned killed, and he didn't do it himself.
Yeah. But
he arranged it to happen.
He was in the little workings to get Ned killed.
Exactly, which is why I'm saying. He kind of arranged for it to happen. So I feel like Littlefinger's probably, and that could be part of the turning Sansa against him. He's like, hey, the person that is closest to him, and I put that in quotes because we also know how Sansa feels about him in the first place. Yeah. The person that is closest to him would be the easiest one to stab him in the back, maybe even literally. Yeah. Literally. There we go.
You think we'll get a Julius Caesar moment with Jon Snow?
Maybe. But I don't think they're going to play it that way because I don't
think so. I think Jon Snow. There are bigger things for Jon Snow.
Oh, there are bigger things. Which is why we're not actually going to get it. But I feel like it was a possibility.
And here's something that I want to bring up only because it popped into my head. Yes. Because Mark and I were actually talking about Game of Thrones last night after we recorded or Monday night after we recorded the Onside Kick. And he mentioned something. So the last time we saw Hodor, because I played the clip for him because I wanted to play the hold the door, hold the door, hold the door, Hodor, Hodor. And he mentioned that something that I never thought of. We never see a body for Hodor. We never see someone burn his body. Oh. Who were the last ones to eventually find Hodor and kill him? The White Walkers. Oh. So he brought up, and I am like, oh my God, if we see this, it's going to be amazing. Could you imagine seeing a Hodor White Walker? Because it had been said in past seasons that, like, when he goes just ape shit,
when Bran used him,
he can just kill everything in his sight. Could you imagine having that on the White Walker side? For them to, he'd be the tallest and the biggest White Walker.
Bran used him just to fight some White Walkers before. And we saw what he can do, the power he has behind him. And that would be some devastating force.
No one burned his body. That's what Mark said. Mark's like, we never saw anyone burn his body.
That's a worry.
So there's a like. I
didn't even think about that. I forgot that they didn't do that with him.
I don't know if they would, but it's out there, and that's what I just wanted to mention that hey, the White Walkers might have a secret weapon, but
a Hodor advantage.
Oh, Hodor, I like that. But
hashtag Hodor advantage.
But with Jon Snow, what we were talking about with him, and the reason why I said, well, he's got bigger plans is, to me, there are 4 people in play.
Okay.
That we could see. If we see anybody at the end of the series on the Iron Throne of who this season, I think it's all going to like, it's like Sophia Turner said in one of her interviews that she did for the promo stuff, Sansa, where she said, this season it's kind of like everything's getting narrower and people are getting closer to where we're not as spread out as we used to be. Backs are going against backs and everything's just getting more narrow. The playing field is getting smaller.
Yeah.
To me, there are 4 people that are going to be in line for the Iron Throne. The first one is she's sitting on it right now, Cersei. She basically inherited the Iron Throne. Yeah. Because technically you would say Baratheon is the blood. Like if you have Baratheon blood in you, you have the king's blood in you. You could also say, hey, I have Targaryen blood in me. I have king's blood in me as well. So to me, it's Cersei because she inherited it because she was married to Robert. And then the other 3 all have king's blood in them. Yeah. Robert's bastard. You got Gendry. Yep. Then you have Jon Snow, who we know at this point he is a Targaryen. Or a Targaryen. He's got that king's blood in him. Yeah. And then number 3, Daenerys, who is a Targaryen, and she's got the king's blood in her as well. So to me, those are the 4 that I think this season, it's going to just flood out that it's like, okay, it's going to be these 4. One of these 4 is going to help the other person or be on the Iron Throne.
I got something for you. Okay. What if by the end of the series, we just kind of come full circle to where we started? Gendry, thank you, is on the Iron Throne, and Jon Snow gets put as in charge of the North again.
Say that one more time.
So just like the setup for Robert and Ned, but now the next generation gets it. Okay.
Just saying. So you're saying Gendry's on the Iron Throne. Yes. You have Jon Snow is technically Ned Stark now. Yeah. And my big question is, I'm assuming Cersei is killed.
I would think so. What do you do with Daenerys?
Other big question is, what do you do with Daenerys?
That's a good question. I have no idea. I'm just throwing that out there for you to think about.
Because Mark brought up and I hate that I'm bringing Mark into this when he's not here to talk for himself. He just had a few good ideas that I think kind of lend themselves to the conversation of the Game of Thrones is. Now, he mentioned that in the either philosophy or the prophecy, however you want to see it, because he mentioned that the dragon for the Targaryens, it's a 3-headed dragon.
Exactly.
So he said that there has to be, he's like, technically you could look at it where Daenerys needs 2 suitors. She is herself, she's one head. To me, I'm thinking Jon Snow is another head, because he's got the king's blood and he's also a Targaryen. Who else could be that other head? Is it Gendry that would be the other head?
Could work.
To me, I was looking at other characters. We have the 2 over in the east that obviously liked her, but there was one that said, hey, you know what, I'm going to step back. And then the other one, he's had the relationship all the time with her where Daenerys is like, whoa, get off me, bro. It's cool. The grayscale guy.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
whoa, get off me, bro. So to me, I was like, I don't really know. I'm like, it's got to be Gendry, right? Because he's got the king's blood. But Mark brought up, what's one thing? There's one other character that has something in common with Jon Snow. Do you remember what? This is a character that I don't think you'll think of.
Something in common with Jon Snow.
Something in common with Jon Snow. Arya Stark found him.
You're not talking about Gendry.
Not Gendry. I'm talking about the people that were... It has to do with Gendry, but the people who were selling Gendry. Remember when Arya was going through all of that in season 4? I want to say the exact character I am looking at is Bedrick Dorarian. I hope I said that name right. Basically, he's the one that in the cave, a red priest had brought him back a few times.
Oh, okay,
from the dead. And basically, I think it was either the Hound or Arya asked, well, what's wrong with him? And they told him, well, they've brought him back. And that's where they learn that each time you are brought back from the dead, it takes something from you.
Yeah.
Something gets taken from you. That's why he
bit's left behind.
Lost the sight in one eye, has this wrong, that wrong. But he is also one that has the same thing, has been brought back by the same magic that the Red Witch used
to bring
back Jon Snow. So that was one theory that Mark kind of threw my way, that maybe the three-headed dragon is him on one, Daenerys in the middle, Jon on the other.
Yeah.
Because it's Daenerys who's the queen, and then these two are kind of the two outside heads that have been brought back with the same magic of fire.
That's true. You know, that's a very good one, too. I feel like Jon is definitely got to have to be one of those heads if that's the way they go about it, though.
Yeah.
Because he is the child of fire and ice. He's like been a pretty important character throughout everything. And not only does he have blood of the king, but he acts like a true king.
I would say even from season 1, you could look at it and go, he's going to be a king.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, season 1, he was really like he didn't know a lot, and he was more of that just protective brother figure.
Yeah.
Especially for like Brand and his younger brothers.
Arya even, didn't he? Wasn't he the one that bought her needle?
I think so.
Had needle made for her? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I look at it, and if they do that, then the North has to be Sansa's. She has to be Queen of the North.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you do, unless they do a three-headed dragon thing where it's kind of like the big three parts of Westeros, where it's like one head in the north, one head in King's Landing,
and one head in the south.
One head in the south.
That would make a lot of sense.
Unless they do something like that. But this season is going to be, for me, all about reuniting people.
Yeah.
We're going to get people that are reunited. And the one that I can't wait for is Arya. I can't wait for her to get reunited with Jon and Sansa.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
And even Brand. Because Brand's going to get reunited with them, too. And he's got a plethora of knowledge that he needs to tell people about.
Knowledge and some new powers to boot, too. So I can control Hodor.
Yeah, not only can he control Hodor, but he's basically the three-eyed raven now.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, there's that power, but really just the knowledge of everything he's learned about how the White Walkers were made. Really, there are only two main characters that really know how to defeat a White Walker, and that is Brand, because he knows how they were created with the dragon scale, and then Sam, who actually has killed a White Walker with dragon scale.
And Jon.
So, okay, three people. That's
who
three out of a lot of characters.
3 out of a lot of people who know how to actually take out a White Walker.
And one's very important in Jon Snow. Jon Snow. Anything? What kind of things are you looking for?
I'm actually looking for. Honestly, a lot of the wars are going to be really cool, but
they're coming.
I want to see. I would like to see, and it feel like it would have to happen just to defeat the White Walkers. Mm-hmm. Everyone's going to have to get together, except I feel like Cersei is not gonna cooperate.
No, she's dead. She's dying.
She's gone.
At some point before season 8 ends, she's dead. And you want to know who I want to kill her?
Who?
I want Jaime to be the one to kill her.
I feel like that would be.
I want him to be the Queen Slayer.
Not her. Jaime or Tyrion.
Or Tyrion.
I would like Tyrion to do it too.
The reason why I want Jaime to do it is not only would we have him be the Kingslayer and the Queenslayer, but we've seen Jaime throughout the entire series has kind of shifted back and forth between sides, between being on Cersei's side, between not agreeing with Cersei and being like, whoa, that's kind of fucked up kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And kind of ebbs and flows in this way and that way. And in the season set, and I know that this could be, you could just say, well, Ricky, this is because he walked away from the Kingsguard, and that's why he's not a part of it. But when you look at the season 7 screenshots that they put out, notice that he's not wearing the Queensguard armor.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the all black armor on, but he's still right next to Cersei. So that tells me where it's like, yes, you're close to me because A, you're my brother, and B, you're my children's father. But
used to be, none of them are left.
Yeah, none of them are left anymore. So now you're just my brother. But other than that, I'm still going to keep you close because you are family.
Well, that, and I think he's the head of House Lannister now. Seeing as Tyrion's gone.
You can't kill the head of House Lannister. Unless she wants to be the head of House Lannister.
She wants both. Why not?
She wants everything.
Yeah, she's going to take everything. But as queen, she is already head of House Lannister in a sense. She controls all of it.
I can't wait to see what happens with everything, because we've already seen what Cersei can do when she puts her mind to something.
Oh, yeah.
AKA blowing up the Citadel.
Yeah.
And killing everybody, because basically the high priest was a dumbass.
Yeah, he was.
He killed everybody. It was his fault. If he would have just let Marjorie, who's my future wife, would have let Marjorie walk out that door. It's kind of hard to be my future wife when you're dead, though. I just thought of that.
Yeah.
If he would have just let her walk right out the door, she would have been alive today.
Exactly.
She would have been alive for season 7, but that's not the case.
Nope.
Instead, we got Cersei in her badass moment of, boom, I'm just going to blow up everything. Oh, and here's a flying bell through the streets of King's Landing. But before we kind of wrap this up and kind of pull it in for our final predictions, is there anything that you think we did not touch in this little preview that you think we need to mention before we see the first episode this upcoming Sunday?
No, I'm just we got 3 main heads going at it. I don't want to say for the Iron Throne. There's only 2 going for the Iron Throne, but 3 that are kind of 3 main groups fighting for power.
I got one.
What?
This is what we'll end on.
Okay.
The thing I forgot to mention, this has to do with Cersei also.
Yes.
The one family we have not mentioned are the Greyjoys.
That's true.
The Greyjoys, last time we saw them, it was, we should have the sister be the head of the Greyjoys. Well, why would we have her be? She's a woman. No, she is the right one. And Theon's telling him, well, here comes Uncle Greyjoy. And he comes in, Euron comes in, and he is the head of the Greyjoys now. I think it will be interesting because the thing that, and I got this from Emergency Awesome, he was basically showing off some of the interview footage, and he caught that the actor that plays Euron was asked, like, who on set brightens your day? And he goes, I almost gave a spoiler. And when he covers his mouth, he said, I almost gave away her name.
Yes.
So his theory is that it's Cersei. Let's say it is Cersei.
Okay.
How are her and Euron, how are the Lannisters and the Greyjoys going to fit together? Because really, they have a partnership that could benefit one another. Euron could give her extra troops and a navy fleet to combat Daenerys before she even gets to Westeros. And then number 2 is that, if you help me in this and survive, I've got a ton of different, they've got a ton of different castles they could just give him.
Not just that.
How many times has Jaime basically promised different castles? I'll give you a bigger castle if you just help me.
Yeah.
If you just help me, I'll give you a bigger castle.
Well, not just that. She can give him the title that I can. It escapes me. The one that John had about the North.
Warden
of the North. She can give him that. She can give him. She can make him the top one in trade routes in all of Westeros.
Yeah, and it was.
So I mean, there's so many benefits for them to work together. So yeah, I could see that being like, hey, you give me your huge naval fleet to combat Daenerys, because they have to get over there via water. They're not going to just. You give me the huge naval fleet to do this. If you guys help us win it, then you get this. You get the whole shebang of everything I can give you. So I completely agree with you that that's a very good possibility.
Well, and the last thing I'm going to bring up before we end everything is an interesting point also. We have seen Daenerys in shots on the dragon throne. You know what's all laced around that kind of dragon throne? The thing needed to kill the White Walkers.
Oh.
So I can't wait for that to be noticed and be a big play when we get to the end of season 7, maybe into season 8. But I'm going to turn the conversation on to you guys now, and I'm going to let you guys let us know down below, what are you guys thinking for this season? What's going to happen? What do you want to see happen? Anything. Tell me down below about Game of Thrones in the comment section. We want to hear from you guys.